The rain fell in silver sheets as Kira Luminal approached the colossal, black iron gates of the Academy of the Accursed. The gates hummed faintly with old magic, whispers of forgotten spells danced in the air. Few mortals ever came this close, fewer still returned with their minds intact. Kira, however, was not like most mortals. Born with an unusual birthmark shaped like a crescent moon and eyes that glowed faintly at night, she had long suspected her destiny lay beyond ordinary villages and candlelit streets. When the Academy's invitation arrived, written on parchment that smelled faintly of starlight and ash, she knew there would be no turning back. The carriage that had brought her here vanished as soon as she stepped out, dissolving into black feathers carried away by the wind. Shivering, she grasped the iron bars. They were warm to the touch, like living things. A voice, deep and silky, whispered from nowhere. "Name and burden, child of dusk." Kira swallowed hard. Kira Luminal, burden unknown. The gates creaked open with a sound like 1,000 sighs. Ahead lay a bridge of obsidian stone stretching over a misty abyss. Dark spires of the Academy rose in the distance, clawing at the sky like jagged fangs. Thunder rolled, not from clouds but from the very earth beneath her feet. She stepped forward, each footfall echoing unnaturally. On the other side of the bridge, a figure awaited her. Cloaked in violet robes that shimmered as if threaded with night, the figure lowered their hood to reveal a pale face framed by raven-black hair. "Welcome, Kira," said the figure, voice both kind and ominous. "I am Professor Silas Vane, Keeper of Shadows. You are late." "I came as soon as the carriage arrived," Kira replied, clutching her satchel tightly. Silas's lips curved into something between a smirk and a smile. "Time flows differently near the whispering gates. Days outside become hours here, or minutes." His gray eyes glimmered with hidden amusement. "Follow me." The Academy does not take kindly to hesitation. As they walked, strange creatures flitted in the mist below the bridge, spectral shapes with hollow eyes and wing-like tendrils. "Shades," Silas explained casually. "They feed on forgotten memories. Best not to fall." Kira tightened her grip on the railing. The gates closed behind them with a thunderous boom. Ahead, the Academy's towering entrance came into full view, an arch of dark crystal inscribed with glowing runes that shifted like liquid flame. Inside, candlelight floated without holders. Corridors twisted as though alive, and staircases moved with deliberate intent. Students in deep indigo uniforms bustled about, some carrying grimoires that murmured as they passed. Others had familiars, tiny dragons perched on shoulders, foxes with two tails trotting silently beside their masters. Kira felt both awe and dread settle in her chest. Silas stopped before a grand hall where a tapestry depicted a silver phoenix emerging from black fire. "Headmistress Dravina awaits you," he said softly. "She will judge if you truly belong here." Kira's stomach nodded. She had thought the letter meant acceptance. Instead, it seemed merely an invitation to prove herself worthy, or face whatever fate awaited those who failed. With a breath that trembled but did not falter, she pushed open the doors. The great hall was vast and echoing, lined with towering stained-glass windows that flickered with unearthly light. In the center stood a throne of carved obsidian, shaped like spreading wings. Upon it sat Headmistress Dravina Morath, her presence filling the room like a storm contained within flesh. She had silver hair cascading like liquid moonlight and eyes the color of frozen lightning. A staff tipped with a black crystal rested beside her, humming softly with restrained power. "So," Dravina said, her voice smooth as polished marble, "the moon-marked child has finally arrived." Kira bowed stiffly. "I came as soon as I could, Headmistress." Dravina's lips twitched, not quite a smile, not quite disdain. "You think an invitation grants you safety? This academy is no sanctuary. It is a crucible." She rose gracefully, her robes sweeping like flowing shadow. You will either be forged into something extraordinary, or consumed by the dark that lingers here. From the shadows, a massive creature emerged, a phoenix unlike any Kira had imagined. Its feathers were black as midnight, wreathed in dark flame. Eyes of molten silver fixed on her with predatory intelligence. "This is Nocthra, the Twilight Phoenix," Dravina said. "It sees what others cannot, the truth of one's spirit. To stay here, you must endure its gaze and reveal your essence. Should your heart falter, the Phoenix shall burn away your illusions, and you shall leave with nothing." Kira's pulse thundered in her ears. She glanced around, noticing other figures watching silently from balconies, students and professors alike, curious about the newcomer's fate. Nocthra spread its wings with a sound like 1,000 whispers, stepping closer. Heat rolled off it in waves, yet Kira felt chilled to her bones. "Who are you, truly?" a voice echoed, not aloud, but inside her mind. Kira tried to speak, but her throat tightened. The bird's gaze pierced deeper, peeling away every mask she had ever worn, her moments of bravery, her nights of doubt, the loneliness she hid behind sharp wit. She felt laid bare before this being of shadow and flame. I don't know," she admitted finally, voice cracking. "But I want to find out. I want to know why I was called here, what this mark means, and if I can be more than the quiet girl no one remembers." Silence stretched for what felt like an eternity. Then, Nocthra's flames shifted from black to silver, wrapping around her gently like a cocoon. The phoenix released a single haunting cry that resonated through every stone of the hall. When it subsided, Kira remained standing, untouched, though her knees trembled. Dravina regarded her with cool, assessing eyes. "You have faced your own void and not fled. Few can claim as much." She tapped her staff, and runes flared along the walls. "Welcome to the Academy of the Accursed, Kira Luminal. From this day forth, you walk the path of shadows, yet perhaps, one day, you will command them." The onlookers stirred with murmurs. A slender boy with ash-blonde hair leaned over the railing, watching her with an inscrutable half-smile. A tall girl with emerald eyes folded her arms, unimpressed but curious. Silas Vane appeared at her side once more. "Come," he said quietly. "Your dormitory awaits. Classes begin at moonrise." As they exited, Kira glanced back at the phoenix. Its silver eyes followed her, glowing softly. She felt its presence settle inside her chest, a faint warmth among the encroaching shadows. She had survived the first trial. But deep within the Academy's dark corridors, secrets stirred, ancient wards cracked, forbidden magic whispered through the walls, and Kira sensed her true trials had only just begun. The student dormitories were nothing like the quaint rooms Kira had imagined from fairy tales. Here, everything breathed magic. The walls shimmered with faint sigils, and every door bore an emblem that shifted depending on who looked at it. Silas led her through winding staircases until they reached a high tower where dark ivy crept over black stone like frozen fire. A massive wooden door opened on its own as they approached, revealing a common room bathed in bluish candlelight. A floating chandelier cast star-shaped glimmers across shelves stacked with peculiar objects, bottles humming faintly, books that slithered away when approached, and portraits that seemed to watch silently. "This is the Dorm of Whispers," Silas explained. "It houses first-year accursed students. The Academy believes in bonding through shared peril." "Peril?" Kira echoed, hesitating in the doorway. From the staircase above, footsteps echoed. A girl descended, tall, graceful, with emerald eyes that seemed to see straight through Kira. She wore the Academy's uniform perfectly tailored, her dark braids adorned with tiny glowing runes. "You survived the Phoenix," she said flatly. "Impressive. Most run screaming." Silas inclined his head. "Kira, meet Celine Arkwright, top student of last term." Celine's lips twitched. Top student because no one else survived long enough to finish exams. Kira stared, unsure if it was a jest. Celine merely brushed past her, heading to a table where a silver teapot poured itself into cups. Before Kira could respond, another figure burst from the stairwell, a boy with ash-blonde hair and a mischievous grin. He twirled a quill between his fingers like a dagger. "Well, well, the moon-marked girl joins our little haunted nest," he said cheerfully. "Name's Ashen Vale. Call me Ash, or Ashen if you want to sound poetic." Kira managed a small smile. "Kira Luminal." Ash leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Word is, you made Nocthra sing. That's rare, means you're either blessed or very, very cursed." Before she could answer, a whisper slithered through the room, not from any of them, but from the very walls. It was faint, like distant murmuring carried by the wind. Celine glanced up sharply, emerald eyes narrowing. "Another haunting," she said coolly. "The dorm has been restless since the last moonrise." Silas frowned. "Restless wards again," he muttered something under his breath, and a flicker of light danced along the walls, quieting the whispers momentarily. "The headmistress will want this reported." Ash grinned despite the unsettling sound. "Don't mind the whispers," he said, flopping into a chair. "They're just the souls of past students reminding us not to mess up too badly." "Very considerate, really." Celine shot him a withering glance. Silas handed Kira a key forged from pale crystal. "Your room is on the 3rd floor, marked by silver runes. Classes begin at moonrise, do not be late." He swept out, leaving Kira alone with Celine and Ash. Ash leapt to his feet. "Come on, Moonmark, I'll show you the room. Just don't mind if the mirror talks back, it's been testy lately." Celine sighed, sipping her tea. "She'll need more than jokes to survive here, Vale." Ash only winked and led Kira up the spiraling staircase. As they climbed, Kira couldn't shake the sense that unseen eyes watched her every step, and that the whispers weren't just echoes of the past, they were warnings of something yet to come. Night fell quickly over the Academy of the Accursed. The sky beyond the dorm tower shimmered with strange constellations Kira had never seen before. A pale violet moon hung low, its light spilling across the courtyard like liquid magic. Ash appeared at her door just as the runed bell tolled moonrise. "First class," he said with a grin. "You're lucky. Not every day you start with Professor Myrr's enchantments of shadow. He's dramatic." The classrooms were unlike anything in her old village school. Hallways rearranged themselves mid-step, forcing them through twisting staircases and living archways that murmured riddles. Finally, heavy obsidian doors swung open, revealing a lecture hall carved into a cavern of glowing crystals. Professor Myrr stood at the center, draped in robes that seemed woven from midnight mist. A single silver chain adorned his neck, holding a crystal that pulsed with every word he spoke. "Students," he intoned, his voice echoing unnaturally, "magic is not learned, it is survived. Tonight, we begin with shadow binding. A simple weave, until it decides to bind you instead." Beside Kira, Celine folded her arms with calm confidence. Ash leaned over to whisper, "Don't let him scare you. First years only lose a few eyebrows." Kira swallowed hard, gripping her wand, a slender rod of moonglass given to her upon arrival. Professor Myrr gestured, and dark tendrils of mist slithered up from the cavern floor, writhing like living serpents. "To command shadow," he continued, "one must face the part of oneself that fears the light. Close your eyes. Call it forth. Name your own darkness, or be consumed." Students obeyed, murmuring incantations. Celine's shadow grew into a massive serpent coiling protectively around her. Ash's shadow shimmered into twin daggers floating playfully at his sides. Kira hesitated. She whispered the words Myrr had etched into their minds and felt her own shadow stretch unnaturally, rising like a wave. It wavered, then split into two figures. Gasps rippled through the hall. Even Celine's calm facade cracked. Professor Myrr's eyes glowed brighter. "Two shadows," he murmured, stepping closer. "Rare. One tethered to the flesh, and one to something beyond this realm." Before anyone could react, the second shadow moved on its own, whispering in a language none recognized. Crystals above flickered, and the ground trembled slightly. Suddenly, a raven of pure silver light swooped down from the cavern ceiling, scattering the shadows. It circled Kira once before vanishing into a burst of feathers that dissolved like stardust. Professor Myrr's face was grave. "An omen," he said softly. "The Academy has not seen a sign like this in centuries." Celine stepped closer to Kira, emerald eyes sharp with both suspicion and curiosity. "What are you?" she whispered. Kira had no answer. From the balcony above, unseen by the students, Headmistress Dravina watched silently, her staff pulsing faintly in her grip. She whispered to herself. "The prophecy awakens." The omen spread through the academy like wildfire. Whispers followed Kira everywhere she went, students peeking from behind enchanted curtains, portraits murmuring as she passed. Even the familiars seemed wary, their glowing eyes tracking her every step. That evening, unable to sleep, Kira wandered the tower's twisting corridors. The walls here whispered more loudly than in the Dorm of Whispers, as though urging her to venture deeper. She followed the sound until she found a narrow stairwell spiraling downward, half hidden behind a shifting tapestry of silver flames. At the bottom lay an ancient door sealed with blackened runes. A single word pulsed faintly in the center: unworthy. When Kira touched it, the word flickered, shifting to perhaps. The door groaned open, revealing a vast underground library lit by lanterns filled with starlight. Dust hung in the air like shimmering mist. Unlike the upper archives, these shelves bore warnings etched in multiple tongues: forbidden knowledge. For eyes of twilight only. Kira's footsteps echoed softly as she explored. Books writhed subtly as though alive, scrolls whispered prophecies that crumbled when she looked directly at them. One tome, bound in lunar stone, pulled her toward it. The title glimmered faintly: Chronicles of the Accursed, the Moon's Betrayal. Opening it, she read hurriedly. Long ago, when the Academy's towers were still young, four founders forged a pact to guard forbidden magic. But one betrayed the others, striking a deal with an ancient shadow beyond the veil. This curse seeped into the Academy's stones, branding certain souls with the moon's mark. They are both wardens and keys, destined either to seal the shadow forever, or unleash it anew. Kira's heart pounded. She traced the illustration, a figure marked with a crescent moon, standing before the same black phoenix she had faced. Beneath it, a prophecy shimmered faintly, almost erased. When twin shadows rise under silver light, the accursed shall awaken, and the sealed path shall call to its rightful bearer. A sudden creak snapped her from the page. She turned, and froze. Celine stood in the doorway, emerald eyes glowing softly in the starlight. "I knew you'd find this place," she said, stepping inside. "You have the same mark, don't you?" Kira hesitated, then nodded. Celine slowly rolled up her sleeve, revealing her own faint crescent moon, glowing faintly against her skin. "I've been searching for answers for years," Celine admitted, voice low. "But only someone who could open this door could truly be the one from the prophecy." She glanced toward the tome in Kira's hands. "You've just painted a target on your back. The Academy isn't the only one watching you." Before Kira could respond, the lanterns flickered violently. The shelves groaned and shifted, and a deep, hollow voice echoed through the archive. "The veil cracks, twin shadows awaken." The black runes on the door flared blood red. A chilling wind swept through the chamber, extinguishing every light. And from the darkness beyond the shelves, something moved. The wind howled through the forbidden archive, rattling shelves as ancient chains clinked from unseen rafters. Celine gripped Kira's arm, her voice a harsh whisper. "We need to leave, now." But before they could move, black mist erupted from the far end of the library. It writhed like a living storm, condensing into a towering figure with no face, only twin glowing eyes like shards of frozen night. "Moon-marked." The shadow's voice echoed through their minds, shaking the very floor. "At last, the seal weakens." Kira's heart pounded. She tried to summon her magic, but fear tangled her thoughts. Celine stepped in front of her, shadow serpent coiling protectively. "What do you want?" Celine demanded. The figure tilted its head, whispering like torn silk. "To be free, only the twin-marked may open the path." As it spoke, Kira's second shadow, the one that moved on its own, slipped free from her feet, drawn toward the creature. The ground cracked as runes glowed beneath them, forming a spiral seal. Celine glanced back at Kira, desperation in her eyes. "If it breaks free, the entire academy will fall. We have to finish the seal." "But I don't know how," Kira cried. Before Celine could respond, the shadow lunged. Books flew like startled birds, shelves toppled. Celine's serpent struck, coiling around the figure, but it slipped through like smoke. Kira's second shadow darted forward, forming symbols in midair. Words from the prophecy echoed in her mind, wardens and keys, destined to seal. Realization struck, she and Celine were meant to work together. "Take my hand," Kira shouted. Celine hesitated only a moment before grasping it. Their crescent marks flared brilliantly, silver light pouring from their joined hands. The runes on the floor shifted, forming a circle of moonlight around the shadow. It screamed, not in rage, but in a sound like sorrow carried by wind. "You are not my enemy, but my prison." Kira's chest ached, yet she pressed forward. With Celine beside her, they channeled their magic into the seal. The light swirled, pulling the shadow inward. For a heartbeat, Kira saw its true form, a broken guardian, betrayed long ago by the founder who had unleashed the curse. "Rest," she whispered. "We'll finish what was started." With a final pulse of silver light, the shadow dissolved, sucked into the seal. The spiral closed, and silence fell. The archives slowly relit, starlight flickering in lanterns. Celine collapsed to her knees, breathless. "You did it." "No," Kira said softly, helping her up. "We did." From the doorway, Ash appeared, wide-eyed. "Leave you two alone for an hour and you nearly collapsed the academy? Impressive." Celine rolled her eyes, but a faint smile tugged at her lips. Above, faint wings fluttered. The black phoenix Nocthra appeared, landing silently before them. Its eyes, once molten silver, now glowed with quiet pride. It bowed slightly to Kira and Celine, feathers glinting like starlight. From somewhere distant, a tolling bell echoed, a sound the academy hadn't heard in centuries. The seal had been restored. As they left the archive together, Kira glanced back once more. The prophecy tome had closed on its own, its final line now fully revealed. "When twin shadows join beneath silver flame, the curse shall sleep, and a new dawn shall rise for the accursed." For the first time since arriving, Kira felt not like an outcast, but like someone meant to be here. The Academy of the Accursed had chosen her, not just to survive its trials, but to change its fate forever. And as the violet moon rose higher above the towers, she knew her adventure was only beginning. Weeks passed since Kira and Celine sealed the ancient shadow in the Forbidden Archive. The Academy had returned to its strange, eerie rhythm, haunted whispers in corridors, staircases shifting of their own accord, and students practicing spells that hummed with unpredictable magic. But something had changed. Every night, Kira dreamt of a pale bridge floating in endless darkness. On the far side stood a figure cloaked in silver flames, holding a lantern that emitted no light. Each time she reached out, the dream dissolved into cold mist, leaving her breathless. Celine confessed she had the same dream. One evening, as they walked past the crystal fountains in the moonlit courtyard, Celine spoke quietly. "It's not over. That shadow, it wasn't just a curse. It was a fragment of something far older. Something that wants to break free." Kira shivered. "The prophecy said we sealed it. Isn't that enough?" Before Celine could answer, a sudden crack echoed across the courtyard. The fountains froze mid-flow, ice crawling up their surfaces in jagged spirals. Above, the violet moon flickered like a dying candle. Students gasped as a massive rift opened in the sky, a tear of silver and black light. From within, shards of glowing crystal rained down, embedding themselves into the academy grounds. Professor Silas Vane appeared in a storm of violet smoke, his face unusually grim. "All students to the Phoenix Hall," he commanded, voice carrying unnatural weight. "The veil has shattered." Kira felt a pull in her chest, the same sensation from her dreams. One of the fallen shards near her feet pulsed faintly when she approached, whispering in a language only she understood. "Warden, the path opens again." Phoenix Hall buzzed with alarm. Professors gathered in tense circles, magical glyphs floating above their heads as they whispered counterspells. Nocthra, the twilight phoenix, perched above the throne, its silver flames dimmer than usual. Headmistress Dravina raised her staff, silencing the chaos. "The veil that shields our realm from the abyss has been shattered," she announced. "This is no natural breach. A force older than our academy stirs beyond the rift." Murmurs erupted. Some students looked terrified, others clung to their wands as if preparing for battle. Dravina's sharp gaze landed on Kira and Celine. Twin-marked wardens, step forward. Kira's legs felt like stone, but she obeyed. Celine joined her, steady and calm. "The prophecy has only begun," Dravina said, voice carrying through enchanted acoustics. "The seal you restored held only a fragment of the ancient shadow. Now, with the veil torn, the abyss itself threatens to spill into our world." She lifted her staff, conjuring a glowing map of the rift above them. "Someone must enter the breach, locate the fractured heart of the veil, and mend it. Only those marked by the moon can survive its twisted magic." Ash burst from the crowd, waving his quill like a banner. "You'll need me too," he said with a grin. "Every good tale needs a charming rogue to keep the heroes alive." Celine rolled her eyes but didn't argue. Professor Silas stepped forward, placing a hand on Kira's shoulder. "The rift leads to the realm of fractures, a place where time bends and reality splits. Many who enter never return. You'll need guidance." Nocthra let out a haunting cry. Silver flames surrounded Kira, Celine, and Ash, pulling them upward. The phoenix's voice echoed in their minds. "Follow my wings. Trust only your bond. The abyss weaves lies within the fractures." With a single beat of its dark wings, the phoenix carried them through the glowing tear in the sky. They emerged into silence. The air shimmered like broken glass, floating islands drifting in a void of pale starlight. Paths of fractured crystal stretched endlessly, defying gravity. A whisper reached them, soft yet chilling. "Welcome, wardens, to the place where shadows are born." Celine's serpent shadow stirred uneasily. Ash whistled nervously. "I think we just stepped into a nightmare." From the darkness ahead, glowing eyes opened, dozens of them, watching, waiting. The glowing eyes shifted in the darkness, surrounding Kira, Celine, and Ash on all sides. From the fractured void emerged a guardian unlike any creature they had seen, a colossal, serpent-like being forged of shattered crystal and swirling starlight. Its voice boomed in their minds. "Wardens of the moon, you seek the heart of the veil, but know this, Only those who understand the truth may mend what was broken. Celine stepped forward, shadow serpent hissing protectively. We sealed the shadow before, we can do it again. The guardian's eyes flared brighter. You sealed only a memory. The true shadow lives in the hearts of mortals, in betrayal unhealed for 1,000 years. From its massive coils, shards of crystal floated down, forming a vision, 4 figures, the founders of the Academy. They stood united, crafting the veil to protect the realm from the abyss. But one, cloaked in silver flame, turned against the others. Professor Silas's voice echoed faintly from memory, one founder betrayed the rest. Kira's breath caught. The founder, they made a pact with the abyss itself. The guardian nodded slowly. And thus, the accursed were born, not to destroy the Academy, but to redeem it. Twin-marked wardens, you are not its prisoners, you are its cure. The crystal path beneath them cracked, opening a chasm. From its depths rose the heart of the veil, a sphere of glowing moonlight wrapped in black chains. Dark tendrils writhed around it, pulsing with corrupted magic. Ash muttered, "That looks unpleasantly alive." The guardian lowered its massive head. To heal the veil, you must enter its heart. But beware, inside, the abyss will show you your deepest fear, and only truth can set you free. Kira and Celine exchanged a glance, then clasped hands. Their crescent marks flared, forming a bridge of silver flame leading into the heart. As they stepped inside, reality shattered. Kira found herself back in her old village, standing before her childhood home. But everything was wrong, dark vines strangled the walls, shadows whispered from every corner. From the doorway emerged, herself. A twisted reflection, eyes glowing crimson. "You think you're a hero," it hissed. "But you carry the curse that will doom the Academy." Celine appeared beside her, facing her own mirrored self. The reflection taunted, "You pretend to be strong, but you fear being abandoned again, just like when they left you in the dark." The abyss fed on their pain, chains tightening around the glowing heart. Kira gripped Celine's hand tighter. "We are not what the curse says we are," she said, voice shaking. "We are more than fear. We're not here to destroy, we're here to heal." Celine met her gaze, tears glimmering but unfallen. "And we'll do it together." Their shadows rose behind them, merging into a single radiant figure of moonlight and silver fire. It reached toward the mirrored reflections, embracing them instead of striking. The twisted images froze, then softened, becoming ordinary versions of themselves, flawed but human. The chains around the veil's heart shattered, dissolving into light. The fractured realm blazed with silver radiance. The colossal guardian bowed low as the islands knit themselves together, the void filling with dawnlight. "You have faced the abyss within," it said. "Thus the veil is whole again." Nocthra, the twilight phoenix, soared into view, its flames now pure silver. It circled them once, then spoke in a voice clear and warm. "The curse of the accursed is ended. From this day forth, you are no longer marked as prisoners, but as Phoenix Wardens, the first of a new dawn for the Academy." The Phoenix lifted them on its wings, carrying them back through the rift. The Academy's spires glowed under a golden sunrise, a color unseen for centuries. The rift had vanished, replaced by a shimmering aurora dancing across the sky. Students gathered in awe, cheering as the Phoenix landed in the courtyard. Headmistress Dravina stood at the gates, her usual sternness softened by rare pride. "You have done what none before could," she said solemnly. "The abyss is quiet. The Academy lives, thanks to you." Celine glanced at Kira, a faint smile breaking her calm demeanor. "We're not just surviving this place anymore, we're leading it." Ash threw his arms wide dramatically. "And don't forget me. Chronicler, hero, slightly terrified sidekick, I expect statues." Laughter rippled through the crowd. As the bells of the Academy tolled a triumphant chime, Kira felt the Phoenix's warmth in her chest. The shadows that once bound her now felt like wings ready to soar. The Academy of the Accursed had become something new, an academy of rebirth, guarded by its first phoenix wardens. And in the sky above, the aurora formed a glowing crescent moon, a promise that even in darkness, light can rise again.